First, some introductions. I'm Stuart McIntosh, and tonight I'll be chairing the meeting. I'm joined by Mary Ellen Carpenter, Charlie Law, Greg Jackno, and John Brown. So just a reminder on the approval process, you need a majority of this committee for approval of your application. Tonight we have two cases, 40 Dusenberry Road and 1 Stone Place, and we're going to start with 40 Dusenberry, and Mike, who will be presenting that? Okay, could you just introduce yourself and speak at the podium? Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Lou DeLeo. I'm the principal of Studio Rye Architects, and we're here tonight to discuss this application of a one-car garage addition to the existing house. The reason for doing this, the existing house has a garage under the house, and every time we have a really large storm, the house tends to flood. There's a driveway that goes, you can see, from the left of the property. It goes around the back, and then you go under the house. So what we're proposing to do is build a new garage at a different elevation. We're showing that in the dark area, and remove all of that blacktop around the whole property. So we're actually gaining groundwork and open space, and alleviating this water problem that we have when there are big storms.
So you'll have a laser pointer right there next to you.
Thank you. Thank you. This is the proposed garage. The old garage was right here, and you can barely see it. All of this is blacktop right now. And we're planning to remove all of that, recreate a lawn. This is an existing pool and terrace, which is going to remain. We don't propose to enlarge that. So all of this is going to be green area for the little kids to play, the children that they have. But the big technical thing is that this garage is going to be at a higher elevation, and we're closing this garage, building a wall, and raising the grade so that the water will not go into the house anymore. Together with that, this is the new driveway, very short driveway into the garage, and then a new wall, 18 inches to 24 inches high in the front of the house, sort of leveling out this. This is a steep grade right now of the lawn. We're going to level this out. And it's mostly for aesthetics, but it also is going to help us deal with some engineering solutions to the water problem, picking up the leaders and gutters. We have a Cultex system in here that picks up the drainage. So the retaining wall, it's actually right here. The retaining wall, although short and it's pervious because it's open joints, will help us to hold some earth, and we can put the system here to pick up a good section of the storm water that's created that now goes, we're not even sure where it goes, but we're going to direct it to these new areas. And then the whole back of the house is going to go there. And this area here, impervious area, also will go in those areas. So that's the gist of the project. And of course, you can see that the proposed garage is within the setback, the required setback of the zone. So that's one of the variances we need, and then the front retaining wall part of it. That basically encompasses the whole project. So this actually is a good picture to see what the existing driveway is, which actually went beyond the property. But all this blacktop is getting taken out, and this is the new section that we're building. So hence we're gaining green space, open space on the property. This shows you the garage with a small little mudroom. This is the existing house that we're not touching. The garage is here, the little door, you come in this way, and this is a mudroom area. Above the garage in the attic space will be a little play area. It's within the roof confines. So with all the square footages that we are creating, we're within the FAR. Again, the only real problem is the setback. The line is here someplace that requires setback. It's the front of the house. Existing, we kept the architectural style to make the house feel all as if it was built at one time. The stone is a similar stone that exists in the house. The stucco that's on the house will be repeated on the back. Even the little wood detail up on top, will be repeated on the top section of the house. All the materials will match. It will be a very seamless type of architecture, looking and seemingly built all at one time.
The existing garage, is that, you said you're going to wall it up, is that going to be
Yeah, if you go.
living space, usable space in some way?
It's low ceiling, it's used for storage now, because they don't park the cars there. If you look here, you can see the 3 windows that we have, 4 windows. This is the garage level. So the driveway went down, 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 and all the water with it went down to this area. So we're proposing, this is the pool level, we're proposing just to make that even with dirt. And we're closing this up, still keeping 3 or 4 windows there to bring some light in that area.
Yeah. Is a question for you, in the front of the house, the wall to the left of the garage, the new wall?
Yeah.
I believe the height is 4 feet, is that?
You know, I can't see it.
There it is.
We control that, we did it for aesthetical reasons. Yeah, 4 feet.
Okay, so it's for aesthetics, not necessarily safety, because do you need to have a fence around a pool?
So we're using this as part of that in this
Okay.
area. So there's a fence running around the whole house, and obviously it finished on the back of the house. But since we're opening everything up, we thought we should use this as part of the pool fence.
Can I ask a question? Lucio, are you requesting a variance for the wall also?
I thought that was one of the points that was brought up.
Because it's not in the description, so I just want to make sure that the variance.
I am not requesting it. If I don't need it, I don't want it. I thought that was one of the points that was brought up.
You mean the partly open wall versus the closed wall? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I just assumed that was one of the,
That's in the,
oh, it
Yes.
is, okay,
Yeah,
because
well-
I thought it was.
So the variance is not going to state that, so if they're requesting it, it has to be.
Stated, yes, yeah.
well, they are requesting that. That's under section 310-09D.
Yeah, it's just not in the description, so we'll just add it for.
Right, it wasn't.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
One other question, this is more, again, in the area of aesthetics. This wall that's in the rendering here?
Yes.
Is that the wall that you're building, or a wall? In other words, the stones and...
Let's go back.
Is that what
This-
it's going to look like, or is it...
We're hopefully we'll find the right mason. We're trying to match what the existing house has. In color and texture. This is like a Westchester mixture of stones. We're going to match the existing wall because I want this to look like,
Right.
it's been there. Even the
Yeah,
color of the
okay.
mortar we can get. This area here, this is dry stack. So the water can move around.
That's existing, though? Where are the...
No, this is all new. This is all new.
You're adding that?
And this is new, but this will be more cemented, a real wall.
Okay, I see.
And are you regrading the front lawn and re-landscaping?
A little bit. Right now, it slopes from here to 0.
Right.
So the water just runs. So we are going to, first of all, can you see this line here? That's the existing walkway. We sort of straightened this out, making a straight walkway.
Right.
And yes, regrading this a bit, and this is an 18-inch high retaining wall that's going to help us level out this area.
Okay.
There'll be new plantings, new lawn.
And the drainage exists, or that's being put in as a
It's
result?
all new drainage.
Okay,
But we're taking care not only of the addition that we're doing, but the entire house. That was never dealt with in the past. So right now, by adding these Caltex here
Yeah.
and the ones in the back, the engineer, and you can see them a little bit here too, all of these things will help to take all the water and deal with it, as opposed to just running down the driveway. So again, we didn't have to do all this. We're doing it because there is a problem here. It's an old house. The leaders go, nobody knows where they go, and so we're addressing this.
Okay.
And if you have any questions?
Questions? No more questions.
What's the property to the left?
This is Eastchester. What is it called?
Yeah,
Nature Preserve.
The dog parking lot.
Right. And the property line it's the wooden fence that's there now? That's your property line, correct?
No.
No?
If you can zoom in, you can see the fence right here.
The stockade fence, okay.
That was there before the Pelzers bought the property.
Right. Right, and no variance required because you stayed within the 15 feet.
And it's there and, you know.
Right. Yeah. Committee members, any other questions, comments? Public, is there anyone from the public who would like to raise their hand? Okay. Well, let me then propose a resolution that the Zoning Board of Appeals grant the following variances to the residents of 40 Dusenberry. Section 31009D, stone walls in front yard required to be 1/2 open. Section 310-09D1, front yard setback, existing 27.6, proposed 22.75, variance required 4.85. And then section 310-22, curb cut relocation. Oh, yeah, before we do this, I do have a question there. Sorry. The variance, curb cut relocation, variance required as well as approval by superintendent of buildings. Could either you or Paul explain that, what needs to be done?
Well, I can tell you.
Okay.
Technically, the existing driveway is here. We're abandoning that driveway and creating a new driveway, therefore, a new curb cut right here. And I
Okay.
guess the highway department has to look at this and approve it. Paul, is that the
Yeah.
other one? Let me see.
Yeah.
Is that a village thing, Paul, or a state thing, or a
What's that?
jurisdiction, is it?
I think since I did the denial letter, he's narrowed that driveway down to the 12 feet, I believe, right?
Right.
And then, so therefore, that doesn't, it's not considered parking in the front yard. It would be 20 feet wide, or, wider in front of the garage, 20 feet from the garage doors, basically, out towards the road.
Right,
So that complies with the not having parking in the front yard.
right.
He's narrowed that down to prevent that variance, so it's no longer needed. As far as the curb cut, I have spoken to DPW Superintendent, Acting James Palmer, and he didn't have any problem with this, so.
So that process runs through you then, or through the village?
Yeah, we can coordinate that with the building permit application and whatnot, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, because it mentions here, as well as approval by the superintendent of buildings.
Right.
So if we approve the variance, but you have to then give final approval.
Yeah, it really, I think by nature of just approving the building permit, I would be. But,
Oh, okay, part of the
I don't
building
have any
permit.
problems with this at all.
Okay,
I think what should be pointed out is that the amount of drainage that they're putting in is, it's, usually based on increase in impervious area. They're decreasing the impervious area, and their calculations are all based on taking care of the whole building and, the area that is impervious. So I think that's a big improvement and, certainly a good asset for this property.
okay, yeah, okay, thank you, Paul. So that was variance number 3. I'll repeat it again, section 310-22D, curb cut relocation. A variance is required by that and approval by the superintendent. Okay, John, what are your thoughts?
I'm in favor of the applicant. I don't see any detriment to the variances being requested, and I actually think it's a welcomed addition.
Thank you. Mary Ellen?
I agree with John. I approve or agree, support the variance. I think it'll be a lovely, you know, it'll help, and I applaud you for putting in the drainage, because I think that's, you know, needed in lots of places around town.
Okay, thank you. Charlie?
Yes, I like the fact that you are attending to the flood issue and remediating that. I like stone walls a lot. I think while it's possible to make a partly open stone wall, I think it would look ridiculous. So I think that, I believe that this is the right way to go. So I'm in favor of that. The setback and the curb cut, I really don't have an issue with that either, so I would vote in favor of all of the variances that are requested.
Thank you, Charlie. Greg?
I agree. Approve.
Okay. And I agree with my colleagues, but I also especially want to point out the fact that you are increasing the green space by 7%, if my calculation is correct. And as you know, that's an important factor that we look at, you know, here at the zoning board. So variance approved. Just a reminder, you need to get it done, Paul, within a year. Is that correct? Okay, or else Paul's coming after you. So congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So why don't we turn to One Stone Place, the next application. Who will be presenting? Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Kristen Motel, I'm a partner at the law firm Cuddy and Fader. On behalf of the applicant, Jerry Ryan from DGC Capital, representing the applicant, is here tonight, along with Carl Ackerman from Sullivan Architecture, Nick Shariah from Hudson Engineering, and Brian Dempsey from DTS Provident. They did the traffic and parking study for this property. So the property is within the AE flood zone. It has frontages on both Stone Place and Milburn Street, and it's currently occupied by a 3-story office building that's primarily used for medical office. It's in the industrial and commercial area within the Service B zoning district. The property itself is entirely impervious. The existing building isn't compliant with any FEMA standards. There's no stormwater management, and it's sustained damage due to flooding. So this application is proposing to address that and also prevent future flooding. So the addition that's being proposed to the existing building is twofold. So it involves removing that lower floor, and yep, that you can see down there, that's enclosed, opening it up for parking, covered parking. If you want to just go back to the, thank you, Paul, that picture right there, yeah. So removing the lower floor and opening it to covered parking, and then extending the building out to the street, 2 stories, with covered parking underneath. So there's no longer going to be office space on the ground floor, and that's going to comply with the FEMA standards. It's going to allow for floodwaters to move freely, and I'll let Hudson Engineering talk a little bit more about like the stormwater management there. But that's what's being proposed. The extra floor space that's going to be added out towards the street is going to be also for medical offices and for existing tenants. So they're proposing, that's a new 5,924 square feet. And that's what's going to require the area variance here. So the building currently is pre-existing non-conforming. The FAR is 1.67, 1.6 is permitted. We're proposing 1.75, so a 0.08 increase. There's some other things that are being done here too. So this change is going to result in 12 new parking spaces. It's going to add ADA compliant elevators and fire stairs, bring the whole building up to full building code compliance. And the best thing of all is it's going to add a new state-of-the-art hydrogen fuel cell system to the roof. That's going to allow the building to toggle on and off the electrical grid and power it during power outages. So all those medical offices are going to be able to continue having power during power outage events. There's also a rooftop solar unit that's proposed here. So not only is this going to be flood resilient, it's also going to be carbon reducing and sustainable as well. The mechanicals for the building are currently located on the ground level. That's obviously problematic in a flood zone. So they're proposing a new penthouse on the roof that's going to house all the mechanical equipment for the building, as well as that fuel cell unit. And that penthouse is going to be attached to the existing fire stair vestibule on the roof. So it's not going to be like a separate penthouse area. It's going to be attached. The second variance we need is for that, because the existing vestibule has a 0-foot setback. It's flush with the roof. And so we're going to need that same 0-foot setback for the mechanical penthouse that's going to extend off of the fire vestibule. Procedurally, we were before the planning board in July and received the site plan approval. The planning board also made a type 2 determination for this project. The parking spaces proposed in the configuration was also approved by the planning board in July. And we would submit to this board that given the significant changes and improvements that the applicant's proposing, both like from a flood resiliency standpoint, increased space for the medical office tenants, and a sustainability standpoint with nominal traffic and an aesthetic that mirrors the surrounding area, that the benefits to the community and the applicant really outweigh any detriment associated with this application. And if the board would like, Carl from Sullivan Architecture can walk through the plans if you think it would be helpful to see the drawings.
Yes, yep.
Thank you.
I just have a question. It may be more appropriate for you, I don't know. Two things. Number one, and I don't know if this is really relevant to the variance, but what is going to happen to the tenants while all of this is happening? It's a fully leased building, right?
That's correct.
I know my doctor is in that building, so
See, he's concerned.
maybe a selfish question, yeah.
Yeah, so the project is going to be done in phases. So we'll have a phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 of the project, and that's the feasibility of coping with the existing tenants, because some of the existing tenants need to move into new spaces.
Right.
So the chronological order of how things happen during construction, that will be the coordination plan that we'll provide.
Oh, I see. So you're not putting anybody out while this is happening, you're just moving them around during
We'll
the...
be moving them
Okay.
around into new
And
spaces.
one other question. I went down there, and this building seems to be connected to every other building in that area. Is there going to be any disruption to any of these body shops or any of these other, have you spoken to them, or?
No, yeah, so we have spoken to the neighbor, because one of the issues we have is that we're looking to close, we're going to cover up those windows. So he is my partner, and he have met, and he understands what we're doing.
And he's,
And
okay.
he has agreed that it's going to be an improvement overall to his building.
Yeah, no, I think it is. Those are just a couple of questions I had. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
Okay. Good evening, Chairman, Board. My name is Carl Ackerman from Sullivan Architecture. We did this drawing here just to give a general overview. Stone Place here, Millburn on the top. This is the recess that currently exists that's shown in this picture here.
Right.
The addition is going to be extruding coming out at you in the same exact height and configuration with parking below. We're going no higher other than a penthouse that's on the roof, and we'll show you that in a minute. This side over here is the adjacent lot. This is the fire stair. It's hard, you can see it barely here. That's on the 0 lot line that connects to the roof on the side. The new penthouse is connected to that fire stair there. That is the reason for the one variance that we're requesting. Is in the code there's a 3-foot setback. We're asking for 0 since it's already there. So that's the one request. The penthouse right now we'll get to in a few minutes, but we're requesting 2,400 square feet. We're hoping to reduce that, but we are moving a lot of the electric room, the fire sprinkler room, everything to the roof to get it out of the flood zone. That is the reason why we're holding that size. If we can reduce it, we absolutely will. And this is the other corners, just for some general. And we can go to the next plan, which is a little more. This is the ground floor. This is Milburn Street, that recess I just spoke about. The red hatched area is the addition that will be on the second and third floor above the cars here. There is a little extension here, a gray area, which is a means of egress out of the building. You can't exit through a garage. This entire area over here is about 5,228 square feet. It's currently office space that was flooded and damaged. It's been demolished inside. The wall's still there today, but it's raw space. This is the space that we're looking to transfer up to the second and third floor. This area is converted to garage, and you can see the parking here that we're adding. There'll be a drive aisle. We lose 3 spaces here, but we gain a significant amount, a net 12 on the project by doing this. This yellow area is going to be a flood-proof lobby, constructed of materials that won't have any mold, concrete, epoxy finishes, so if it does flood, there's no issues. The elevator will have a sensor on it, and it'll go up to the second floor, so it won't be damaged. The utilities a lot of them are in this corner now, and we'll see in the next drawings, they're going to be moved up to the top. Go to the next drawing. This is the existing second floor. You can see here, there's bathrooms here. These are the tenants that are, it's not a final layout, but this is a proposed adjustment plan. There's a tenant here, whether they expand. This is going to be in the owner's phasing plan that we're going to submit with the permit. The red hatched area here is the addition. This is the existing wall now with the glass. We're proposing new glass on the outside. They'll be the same color and the same design that exists there today. There's a ribbon window that's a bronze finish. Same color on the building as we presented to the Architectural Review Board. And then we can go up to the next floor. This is pretty much a mirror image of the floor below. The new fire stair that's in this corner is there because the building diagonal is much bigger now. So we need to make sure that we have the building code in compliance with the distances of travel. And we're bringing the elevator up. That's a larger elevator that will house stretchers or ADA compliance, which will help the medical tenants in the building. We can go to the next slide. This is the elevation on the top facing Milburn. Basically, it's extruded out at us. It's going to look very identical to what it does today. There'll be no impact. And the elevation that's on Stone Place, there's not much change here other than these gray areas that'll be opened up. You'll see into it. That'll be a parking garage now inside, where currently there's a recessed facade today. So it's going to look very similar as it does today. We're proposing new lighting in the garage, and the entryway is currently here, and it's going to remain there. And there's the other entry on the next drawing. Oops, this went to the roof plan, sorry. There was another sheet, but, so these are the two. And there's another side. This is the, excuse me. Yeah, it's right here, excuse me. This is the entry facing Milburn, and this is the Stone Place entry. And then we can go to the next drawing, sorry. This is the roof plan. This area over here, facing south, is proposed to be the solar area. This is the gray hatched area here, as we're proposing right now, is the new penthouse. That'll have the new fire sprinkler system, the electric panels, everything's moved up to the roof to get it out of the flood. That stair is right here that's existing, and we're attaching to it. And then this red hatched area again is the addition. Roof. And in that area, we're proposing a green palleted roof system, which will help with storm. It's a retention system, so when it rains, they will have plants that are drought tolerant up there, so it'll help with reducing runoff, in addition to the engineer, what he'll talk about.
Can you just show where the 3-foot setback would apply on the map?
Technically, this is a 0 lot line right here.
Yeah, right.
That is the adjacent property, so that is 0, and that piece right there.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's what we're proposing right now. If we can figure this out in a better way to avoid that, we will. But we have a lot of utilities that we're bringing up through the building, and they're in that area.
And the space that you're converting to garage space, and the amount that you're expanding, is it about the same? I just don't remember. Are you picking up?
It's a little extra on
Okay.
top of it, and the only reason we discussed this with the planning board was the columns for the building are lined up with the parking down below,
Right.
and that's kind of contributed a little, that why we're increasing by .80. It's, yeah, 0.8, excuse me. It's about 1,900 square feet roughly that we're adding to the,
And the new space is the red area again?
correct. Just
Okay.
the red hatch is the addition.
Okay.
This
Fa-
is-
Facing Milburn,
That's the
okay.
existing facade line right there.
Right.
And we're going out plus or minus 39 feet out by the width of the property.
And that would be, how many stories, the addition?
Two stories.
Two stories.
Above garage.
Okay,
So it's still 3 stories tall.
right, okay.
So where the garage is going to be, are you doing anything to alleviate the flooding?
Yes, we are. And we have our engineer, we can.
The flood volume storage is actually being significantly increased on site, and then I'll let Nick from Hudson Engineering talk a little bit about how we're accomplishing that.
Hello, everyone. Nick Shariah from Hudson Engineering. So as Kristen alluded to, with the removal of the first floor, we are increasing the flood storage volume for the entire lot by about 35%. We're going from 31,000 cubic feet roughly of flood storage area in the existing condition. With the proposed condition, we're going to 48,000 and change cubic feet of storage. So definitely a lot more storage volume for any flooding that should occur.
When you say storage, what does that mean? In other words, where does the water eventually go or is it stored and used in some way?
So by storage just means it has somewhere to go. I mean, previously, or in the as it is now, this entire first area is building. There's no empty space for the water to go through. So with this being asphalt, driveway, the water can actually flow through here. It's not actually storing the water on site. It's just allowing the water to pass through and not cause damage to the building.
Right. Right.
Oh, yes, sorry. Thank you. As far as the stormwater, with the proposed green roof on the 3rd floor, there is about a 20% reduction in impervious area, which automatically decreases the stormwater runoff from the site, as the site is currently 100% impervious. The green roof will take some of that water, will pipe it into a hydrodynamic separator on site here, along with the a catch basin here in the garage, which will be connected to the hydrodynamic separator, which filters silt and sediment from the garage, and then will discharge into an existing catch basin on Milburn.
Well, if you have a heavy storm, will you still be able to park the cars there?
Probably not.
And
Yes.
it won't be floating?
It's not flooded, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So let me just ask a question. So this project, it sounds like this is something that is really required. I mean, I would think, for example, to get insurance for this building might be next to being almost impossible without making these changes. So maybe you could just sort of address why you're doing this?
So the first floor has sustained flooding damage, and in order to address that, you're absolutely right. The building has to be brought up to FEMA standards, and to do that and make it economically viable, that office space has to go somewhere. It can't be on the first floor anymore. And to lift it up, the FAR variant.
So that's a requirement, in other words, under FEMA?
FEMA has a substantial improvement rule, so if you're doing 50% or more of the value of the structure that you're upgrading, then the whole building has to be brought up to compliance. So right now, our clients are losing money because they have that entire first floor that they can't
You can't lease it?
Right, exactly.
Okay.
It's damaged, so they're looking to put that FAR up above, which is where FEMA wants it, and the mechanicals also FEMA requires to be up out of the base flood elevation, lifted above that. The roof makes the most sense, obviously, so you're not taking up office space for those mechanicals. So those are really driving the need for the two variances.
Okay. And then what's the rationale behind the fuel cell, solar panels, et cetera?
Yeah, so our clients are in the business of doing hydrogen fuel cell, and Jerry can talk more about this, but this is an industry, obviously, the medical offices where there's a critical need for, power outages really impact storage and what's going on there. So they thought, and we've done projects on their behalf in other communities in Westchester. They thought this was the perfect time to deploy the technology in Bronxville, since they're going to be making all of these upgrades, and in a flood zone, there's a lot of guidance from the Department of Energy and from FEMA on fuel cells and these microgrids, building them on essential infrastructure so that it's really able to toggle on and off the grid. So medical offices.
So presumably there are two benefits. One, it saves energy.
Correct,
for
carbon
the,
emissions.
for the owner, but also provides backup power. So would there be battery storage for that, or?
Not at this time, because the technology is not feasible
Okay.
yet, but the fuel cells will generate their own power, and with the solar on the roof, the hope is the technology is moving in direction of you can generate hydrogen from your solar panels,
Right.
and use your hydrogen to feed the fuel
Fuel
cells.
cell, right,
Yeah.
right.
And I assume that would allow you to attract different kinds of tenants if they knew that power was on all the time or guaranteed to be, yeah.
Yeah, and also we work with, working with different groups, including DOE and NASA, because local law 97 is, even though it's coming in New York City, it's probably going to come in other areas. So this building will be, up to the standard of local law 97.
Right. Right. Interesting. Okay. Let's see. Is the building largely medical office or almost 100%? Is it?
It's not 100%, it's largely medical office, though.
Okay. 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 Right.
So are there any special requirements for the, outfitting the medical offices, or any electrical requirements or extra?
Yeah, there will be, depending on what the tenant's needs are.
Right.
Now is the time to upgrade them.
Yeah.
As we go through it. So whatever their requirements are as we go talk, we've not gotten fully engaged with the tenants on who's going to be there or who wants this or that. So we'll have to develop a specification to their needs.
Right.
Whatever they want. But the elevator, as mentioned before, is going to allow greater ADA access to all of these areas, which will, give a greater benefit to,
Right.
medical teams that want to work there.
Okay.
So how many spaces for parking?
We're adding 12, so that's for a total of 38. Yeah, there's 26 on site right now, so it'll be
Is
38
that for tenants or for?
Yeah, I was going to ask that question.
for the tenants. And
For the
their
tenants, yeah.
clients.
I mean, I don't drive there, but the parking is a little.
But presumably the tenants are now parking on the open lot.
Yeah, there is a.
Right, so the village picks up, obviously, that's the, now that they can park under the building, the village is picking up, I guess, 12 spots. Is that the way to look at it?
Yeah, that's the way, because this will only account for the need for, say, one or two more spots. And so, right now, a lot of them are parking at the meters and the various spaces around there. Those will free up, so more village residents can use those spaces.
You can drive it if you want.
Yeah, correct, right. It'd probably take me longer than the walk.
Okay.
Where the setback in question is, what's on the other side of that?
That's the parking lot currently on.
Okay, so it's just going to be flush with the building all the way to, okay. Yeah.
So one item I noticed is that the planning board, or Paul, you have to approve the solar installation. Did I read that correctly?
I believe we have to go back with a separate application just for the solar installation.
Okay.
Because that's the requirement of the code. So we don't right at this time have like this very specific details for the panels, but we will go back before the planning board and get that approval as well.
So Paul, that's just a planning board question. That doesn't, that would not come back to us.
So
The canopy, right, you're right, yeah.
overall now? I mean,
Yes.
it used to be.
Well, if they're, well, that's the reason I asked the question, because we've had solar.
Yeah, we have. But
Cases come
that
before
changed
us.
under the new code? Okay, that's what I thought, yeah. But for commercial, okay, okay. Then residential, okay. And is the standard different? Is there a different, coverage and all of that, the way it used to be, or not?
Yeah, it was changed.
Not that it matters, it's not really our issue, so.
Right. So another question, when you're moving the utilities to the roof, any issues with noise, sound? If you could just address that?
Yeah, so the fuel cell runs actually quieter than your refrigerator does in your kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah, there's zero.
Right.
You actually, when you stand beside it, these fuel cells are about the size of a refrigerator.
Right.
So the reason for the penthouse being larger is that the fuel cells, we need 60 kilowatts, maybe 70 kilowatts to run this building. And we will be using smaller fuel cells because that's what's available today, and that's the technology that's probably around for the next 2 to 3 years.
And that's powering, obviously, the heat, the air conditioning.
Yeah, so we're going to be going with heat pumps.
Right.
For the air, hot and cold. So the heat, that's the modern technology because they use a lot less power.
Right. Interesting. Wow. Let me just see. Any more questions? Anyone from the public? I don't see anyone from the public.
Public all left.
They've all gone.
Scared them away.
Anyone hiding? We're good?
Yeah.
We're good? Okay, so let me propose then a resolution that the Zoning Board of Appeals grant the following variance to RAMV Properties LLC. Section 310-15-2A, FAR, allowed 1.6, existing, which is non-conforming, is 1.67, proposed 1.75, FAR variance required is 0.15. Section 310-15, D4, penthouse is required to be at least 10 feet from the front and rear walls of building and at least 3 feet from the sidewall. Portion fronting the stone place is required to be 10-foot setback. Proposed is 0, as mentioned. Variance required for portion on the front side of the building is therefore 10 feet. Portion on the side of the building is required to be at least 3 feet. Proposed is 0 feet. Variance required or requested is 3 feet. Charlie?
The first thing I'd like to say is I'm very impressed with this whole team. You put together an extremely comprehensive proposal, and so we were able to prepare ourselves very well because it's complicated and it's not what we ordinarily get before this board. So, and your presentation was excellent. So I just want to put that on the record. Secondly, I am impressed by the application in terms of what you're trying to do. I like the fact that you're trying to mediate the flood issues, which we all know are significant down in that area. And also, it looks like it's going to be a much more pleasing building, assuming you've worked everything out with the neighbors. I say neighbors, they're all commercial neighbors. Then I think it's going to, it's really going to significantly enhance not only the building, but that area down there. So that's my long-winded way of saying I approve all of the variances enthusiastically.
Greg, your thoughts?
I agree, approve.
Right. John?
I concur.
Mary Ellen?
I agree, and I think it's going to be a win-win for the people who are using the building, both the tenants as well as the patients and clients that come in, so.
Right. Okay, and I agree with my colleagues. I'll be really interested to see how the fuel cell works out, so I might circle back and see how energy efficient that is, but that's, I think, pretty exciting, setting sort of a nice precedent, for the village, also for Westchester, for that matter. So variance is granted. One question for you, Paul. I think I read somewhere the project may take 12 to 15 months. So how does that work with permitting and timeframes?
I think provided they're doing, making substantial progress,
Should be fine.
Okay, not an issue. Okay.
We can't build that into the variance that we're giving.
Well, Paul, again, what is the requirement, this 12-month that we reference? Do they have to come back if they exceed that?
I mean, could we?
I think the actual requirement is that they have to start and have, have substantial progress within the first year.
Yeah.
I think that's
Okay.
back to the code.
Okay,
I know you've always spoken about completion within a year, but I think technically the code allows that.
okay,
Some leeway.
okay.
So, so if they get held up and after a year passes, they haven't even started, then it would be, make sense for them to have to come back.
So
Okay.
as long as they're progressing through no fault of their own, if it's held up, then it's all right.
Right.
It's, like you said, it's a complicated project.
Mm-hmm.
The stormwater takes time, and, all these things take time, so.
Right.
We work our best to get
Okay.
them on
Great.
and get them up and running.
Good. Okay, thanks, Paul. Okay, congratulations.
Thank you very much.